Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing very well. So this is actually my second time sitting down to try and film this video. I'm not gonna lie, I tried a few days ago to film this pregnancy Q&A and I realized that, to be honest, it needed a little bit of preparation. I sat down and I was just rambling and rambling. I had so much to say. I actually just needed a moment to sit down and think about what I wanted to say to make sure I didn't miss anything out, and I answered all the questions that you guys are gonna wanna hear about the first and second trimester in my pregnancy, which, as you guys already know, I've only just recently announced, and I'm actually now heading towards my third trimester. So yeah, we've got a lot of catching up to do, and I thought what better way other than to do it than just to sit down and do a big fat juicy Q&A and answer all the questions that you guys want the answers to, really. I've made myself a drink, and I'm sorry, but I actually don't know what this is. Like, I only had 7-Up in the fridge and I wanted something other than water, and I just thought I'll put some strawberries in it to try and make it look aesthetic, and that just looks absolutely horrendous, so just ignore that for now. Also, I know obviously I'm sat in the kitchen, which is a slightly strange setup. My first location for this video was in my dressing room, but I don't know, this just feels a little bit more relaxed. There's more natural light in here. It's a really cozy, like blistery, rainy, windy, cold day today. So yeah, I just wanted like a nice cozy setup. But anyway, I think this video is probably gonna be quite a long one. I have a lot of questions to get through, so I really hope you guys enjoy, and yeah, let's get into it. So when I put the Q&A box on my story, there was one question that was just asked literally a million times, and that question was the baby planned? So did Tommy and I plan to fall pregnant? So to answer this question as simply as possible, I have not been on contraception now for coming up to about 3.5 years. Pretty much the whole of mine and Tommy's relationship, I have not been on contraception. That's kind of just because with my endometriosis and other things, I never really found a contraception that worked for me. I tried a couple of different pills, and for me personally, I never found anything that quite agreed with my body. And because Tommy and I were very open about the idea of having a baby, something that we wanted literally from day one of meeting one another, we were very comfortable with the idea of me not being on contraception and potentially having a baby because of that. We were kind of ready literally from the very start of our relationship, and I was quite surprised that it didn't happen sooner, and that links on to the reason why I was so shocked and why I kind of had convinced myself that I couldn't have children, because, as I said, hadn't been on contraception for 3 years, and we'd been having unprotected sex for that whole 3.5 years, and it had never happened. So to answer that question as simply as possible, no, the baby wasn't specifically planned, but she also wasn't not planned. I love that I can also say she now, because when I first, hi baby, sorry, the cat, someone's at the door. What I was about to say was that when I filmed the first version of this video last week, we hadn't actually announced the gender at that point, but now I can call the baby she and her, because you guys know that we're having a little girl, which I literally still can't believe, and we'll get onto that because there's questions about like gender and stuff as we get through the video. But yeah, you guys know that we're having a little girl now, which is just the best thing ever. I'm so happy and excited. But yeah, in regards to was the baby planned, I can't really give you a firm yes or a firm no, because we viewed it as whenever I fell pregnant, that would be the right time for us, because we weren't trying to stop it from happening. We knew what would happen by having unprotected sex if we'd be so lucky to have a baby. So yeah, that's kind of the answer to that. So the next question, how did you find out and where were you when you found out? I have to try and like keep all these questions quite condensed because I want to get through loads. So how I found out I was pregnant, how did I know that I was pregnant? Very good question. So we'd just been on a 2-week holiday to Dubai for my 23rd birthday. The whole of that holiday, I was actually pregnant and had no idea. It's like really kind of mad, because we were like going about Dubai, like I was going on big water slides, we were like messing around on like inflatable water parks, like, and I had literally no idea that I was pregnant, which is kind of a scary thought when I think back to it. But obviously, like, I just didn't know, I just didn't expect it. But anyway, we came back from our holiday to Dubai, and I realized that I was only 1 day late on my period. But for me, I'm always like bang on with my periods. Like, I have an app on my phone called Flow, which tells me when I'm gonna come on my period, and normally the app is like bang on the money. So when I noticed that I was 1 day late on my period, I just had a feeling to take a test. I don't know why, because as I said, literally one day late was nothing to really worry about. I did have a test already in the drawer, and I think that's the only reason why I took one. If there wasn't a test already in the drawer and I didn't have one in the house, there's no way I would have driven out to go and get a test from being one day late on my period. I just think it was convenient because I had one in the drawer. So yeah, I said to Tommy, I'm gonna go and take a test quickly because I've not come on my period today, which is a little bit weird for me, but I just didn't think anything of it. He didn't think anything of it. I went to the toilet, took the test, and left it on the side. Now, because I wasn't on contraception for 3 years, I used to take pregnancy tests all the time. My friends always used to say, like, you literally take pregnancy tests just for fun. I used to always have them in the drawer and would often take them, like, at least one a month. And so for me, taking a pregnancy test, oh God, something in my eye, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, so for me, taking a pregnancy test wasn't something like out of the ordinary, like I used to do it all the time. So I took the test anyway in the downstairs toilet, I left it on the side, I went to go and feed the cats. I went back about 5 minutes later to literally go and put the test in the bin. Like I literally barely even checked it. And when I picked it up, it said pregnant 2 to 3 weeks. And it was the most surreal moment of my entire life. The only way I can describe the feeling is, you know, sometimes in like action movies where there'll be like a big explosion or like a fire or like a really loud noise and everything around the actor will like go quiet and will just like, the person will just like zone out and they won't be able to hear anything. And like someone could be literally be screaming at them and they can't hear them. I literally felt like I was in one of those scenes from a film because I just like, I couldn't even, I was just like, it was just a completely out of body experience. Anyway, I had to come out of the toilet with the pregnancy test that said positive, that said pregnant on it, and Tommy was literally sat basically where I am now. So I ran upstairs with the pregnancy test and yeah, just had a moment to myself. And that night I didn't actually tell him. I told him the next day because I wanted to find the right moment to tell him so I could also like film it and stuff. Maybe in hindsight, looking back now, I wish I just told him in the moment and on the night because I didn't even really use much of the footage. I'm glad I did catch it on camera and it's super special that like, we'll be able to show our baby girl that one day, like this was your dad's reaction to finding out I was pregnant. But I don't know, I kind of feel like that night was so torturous of me like hiding it from him that I don't even know if it was worth it, honestly. So the next question, what were your family's reactions to finding out you were pregnant? So our family's reactions, well, because obviously we didn't film them, it's like hard to like go through, like my mum reacted like this, my dad reacted like that, like Tommy's parents reacted like this. Like I'm not gonna go through everyone's reaction, but everyone was just really, really over the moon for us. My family, I'd sort of prepared them for the idea that it probably would be coming soon. Obviously, I am only 23, which is still super young. And I think my parents probably never thought that I would want to have a baby this young. But from the day I met Tommy, like something just clicked and it just felt so right. And all I ever dreamt of was like being the mother to a child that's ours together. I don't know, I can't explain it, but I basically started to prepare them that like I would want to have a baby soon. So when I told them, I don't think they were really surprised. My sister, I actually, it sounds so bad, but I actually text Zoe the news, which a lot of people will be like, that's horrendous, like why would you do that? I actually text a lot of people the news. Again, just because I was so shocked and it hadn't even really sank in for me yet, that I wasn't really ready to do like a big reveal of like giving them a box or like showing them a test. I really didn't experience everything how I thought I was going to, like not in a negative way, but just like I was just so shocked and I couldn't comprehend the news myself that I didn't feel ready to go around and see my sister and be like, I'm pregnant, because I couldn't even get excited about it yet until the shock had disappeared more for me. Apologies for the TV in the background as well. Basically, when I move, that like weird landscape picture comes on, but when I don't move it, it probably will go on and off, so sorry about that. But yeah, for me personally, it just felt right to keep it quite casual in the way that we told our family members. Like, I texted a lot of my friends the news. I told Maura over the phone. I told one of my best friends, Steph, over the phone. I told Zoe over text. I told Fran in person. I went round to Fran's house, a lot of questions about what was Fran's reaction. She was over the moon. I just went over to her house and I said, come in the back garden with me. And I was like, how about a little friend for Bobby? And Bobby's her 2-year-old son. And she was like, what? She was like, are you pregnant? And I was like, yeah. So I think, yeah, everyone's reaction was amazing. Everyone was so over the moon for us. No one was really that shocked. I think they knew it was kind of around the corner anyway. So next question, what have been your symptoms? So this is where I was really struggling when I tried to film this video last time because I couldn't remember everything. And like, it's been like a 6-month journey so far that like trying to literally recall everything that's happened over the last 6 months was near enough impossible without a bit of planning. So I actually wrote down a bit of a list on my phone that I'm just gonna read out of like all the symptoms that I experienced in my first and second trimester. For my first trimester, I've written down very mild nausea cured by eating. I still don't know how you say that word correctly. Nausea, sickness, I'm just gonna call it. Week 6 or 7 onwards, very mild sickness, which was instantly cured by me having a nice hearty meal or a good snack. My main symptom throughout my whole pregnancy has been hunger, especially through my first trimester. The hunger was unlike anything I have ever experienced in my life. I knew that pregnant women, like, oh, you eat for 2 and like you experience like hunger, but I didn't realize it was like a clinical, medical thing. Like sometimes I'd be in the car with Tommy and I'd be like, if you don't pull over to a service station right now and help me get some food, like I am going to collapse on the floor. Like that was the levels it was. It was unbelievable. Like I had to be eating at least 5 big meals a day with snacks in between. And then from about week 14 onwards, thankfully that calmed down because I couldn't have carried on eating the way I was. Like it was obscene amounts of food that I needed to eat to like keep myself feeling good and not sick. I've written here, I experienced very mild tiredness in the early stages, but nothing that stopped me from guessing about my days as I would. Yeah, I was super lucky in my first trimester that I didn't experience any crazy amounts of tiredness, but from between week 15 to about week 17 was probably, I'd say, the worst couple of weeks of my pregnancy in terms of how I felt. In those weeks, I felt how I imagined I would feel in my first trimester. I was so tired I could barely get off the sofa. I just didn't have a single bit of energy to do anything. But I think that also came about because I was acting so normal through my pregnancy, traveling about, going to flipping Iceland. I went to Lanzarote, like I was shooting here, there and everywhere. I was so busy that I felt like my body was kind of like, you need to just chill a minute, like you are pregnant, like you're growing a baby. So I think that was my body, yeah, just telling me like, just slow down and actually like act a bit pregnant, you know, like just chill on the sofa for a bit. I've put down here extreme emotions up to 7 weeks. So from me finding out until I was about 7 or 8 weeks, I was so emotional. I cried literally every single day. I mentioned that we were going through quite a tricky time anyway with Tommy's, with the fights that were happening and then not happening, and it was a kind of tricky time anyway, so emotions were very high, and I was crying a lot and I felt sad a lot, which is so weird because all of our dreams had come true. I had fallen pregnant. I was so happy, but I couldn't feel that happiness yet. Up until like 8 weeks, I felt quite sad, which was something that I didn't expect and quite a big symptom of mine. I've also written down here insomnia. Through my first trimester, I had really bad night's sleeps. I would just be lying there wide awake in bed. I also had really bad nightmares, like really vivid dreams and nightmares. I've also written bleeding gums. That's something that I've experienced the whole way through my pregnancy, from about week 12 onwards, brushing my teeth and like spitting out like just pure blood. I didn't know that was a symptom, but yeah. I also had nosebleeds, but I don't think that was anything to do with pregnancy, I'm not gonna lie. That is a pregnancy symptom, but I had a couple of nosebleeds when I was in Switzerland, and then since coming back, I haven't had any, so I think that might have just been a coincidence. And that's pretty much everything I've written down. Without sounding like an absolute idiot and a very annoying person, honestly, if I hadn't taken that pregnancy test, and if I didn't know I was pregnant, I genuinely don't think I would have known. The only reason why I would have known would have been the hunger. But I'm a hungry person anyway. But yeah, the hunger was the only thing that was really that prominent that I wouldn't have been able to ignore it. Everything else, I probably, if I hadn't taken that test, I probably wouldn't have known, and obviously from a late period. So yeah, I've been so incredibly lucky. Like I really have been able to get about my days very normally. I've been able to travel with work. I've been able to shoot. Was able to hide it from everybody for coming up to 6 months. Like I was so lucky, and I think if I'd struggled really badly with sickness or had a different experience, I think I would have had to have come out a lot sooner and say that I was pregnant, because I wouldn't have been able to hide it. I think I was only able to hide it because of how smooth my journey has been so far. So next question, did you have a preference on the baby's sex, and could you tell what the sex was going to be? So could I tell whether it was going to be a boy or girl? And did we have a preference? I need to think about this question because I haven't thought about this one yet. My dream since I was a little girl myself was to have if I was ever lucky enough to have kids, my dream was to have 2 girls, because I was one of 2 girls. I have an older sister, and I just always had dreamt that if I did have kids one day, then I envisioned it always being 2 girls. So that was my dream. But to be completely honest, I think I kind of found myself leaning towards the idea of it being a boy, because I knew how amazing that would be for Tommy to have a little boy. To be completely truthful, I feel like obviously a dad is probably going to want to have a boy, and a mum is probably going to want to have a girl. I mean, that's very generic and not always the case. I would have literally been happy with either. I did not have a single preference. I would have been so happy if it had been a boy, because then Tommy would have had a little miniature him, which would have been adorable. But then I also, like, my dream was always to have a girl, and literally my dreams came true, and we're gonna have like a mini me, which is just unbelievable. So we didn't have a preference at all. We didn't mind. And could I tell what it was gonna be? Absolutely not. No, I actually was quite convinced it was gonna be a boy because of how smooth my pregnancy had been. I didn't have any sickness, I never threw up. And they say that when you have a girl, your sickness is quite a lot worse, and your symptoms tend to be a lot worse. So yeah, I kind of just thought it was going to be a boy, but I don't know why we weren't adamant that it was going to be a girl. We should have absolutely known, because A, I'm one of 2 girls, and B, all of Tommy's brothers have had girls first. So 4 of Tommy's brothers, because one of them hasn't had a baby, but 4 of Tommy's brothers, they all had girls first. So I don't know why for 1 second we thought that we were having a boy. Like, obviously it made sense that we would have a girl, but I just never ever thought that like my dreams would come true and like I'd have a little baby girl. Like, I just didn't think it was gonna happen. So when we popped the balloon, it was just Tommy and I here that day. We just did like a little thing, just me and him. We got a balloon, and well, Fran sorted that out for me, because obviously like we still hadn't told anyone, and we didn't want to, like, we didn't really know how to go about getting the balloon. But Fran sorted it for me, and yeah, it was just Tommy and I here. I'd just been on a shoot with PLT, and I came back, and yeah, we popped the balloon, and it was like probably the best, I would say the best day of the whole pregnancy for me so far. I know the best day will be when I give birth to the baby, but that was the best day so far for me, was finding out that it was a little baby girl. And I would have still said that if it was a baby boy. Finding out the gender was just such a magical day, and one of the best days of my whole life, actually, I'd say. Next question, do you have a name? I've addressed this so much on Instagram already, but yes, we do have a baby girl name picked out. I've had the name picked out since I was basically a baby girl myself. It's always been my dream little girl name, and luckily when I met Tommy and I told him the name that I'd always dreamt of using, he absolutely loved it too. And it's a really, really unusual and different name. I do not know anybody else with the name. I have not really seen any other girls with the name before. It's like that different. I think you guys are gonna either absolutely love it or hate it, but we absolutely love it. But it is super unusual, super different. Nobody will guess it, because it's not even really a name. Like, it's not made up, but like it's totally not made up, but I can't explain it. Like, it's just not a name that has really ever been used before. I've searched on Instagram and seen like a few girls with the name, but yeah, it's just very, very different, very, very rare, and you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. But we absolutely love it, and we're set on it, and it's been set on since day 1. So a lot of my close friends, when they found out I was having a baby, just messaged me back like with the name, being like, oh my gosh, the name is on their way. And we didn't even know if it was a boy or a girl yet. Next question, will you be showing your baby's face? I thought this was a really good question, because it's not something that we've actually worked out yet. I definitely think we will 100% show our baby. I just know we're gonna be so obsessed with her and so like in awe of her that all we're going to want to post will be her. But I also don't know how I'm going to feel as a mum. Like, am I going to give birth to my baby and she's here and suddenly I want to be like overly protective, and I don't want anyone that's not within my family and like my friends to really see her straight away? I don't know. Like, maybe I want to post her straight away online. Maybe I won't want to post her for a few weeks or a few months, or maybe never. I literally don't know how Tommy and I are going to feel about that until she is here. But I definitely think we will post her. I just don't know when and how much. Because at the end of the day, I have made it very clear to my family and friends that I still want to be me. Not that it's about this in the slightest, But obviously my job is full-time on social media. So it is something that I have to think about in terms of like, I don't want people to come to my page to see our baby. Like that's not what my Instagram's about. Like I don't want her to be plastered all over it to the point where I become like a dedicated like mum blogger and all I speak about is like mum things. That's not how I vision myself being. Like maybe I will end up like that, I don't know. Maybe I literally, it's so hard to know how I'm going to be in a situation that's not happened yet. But I see myself as just being me, and of course like life is going to change so much, and of course I'm going to post parts of motherhood and me being a mum, but I can't explain it. I just don't want my online presence to suddenly go from being what I do now and it being me and my life and you guys come here to see me, to suddenly you come here and all you see is our baby. That's not what this is about. Like it's going to be quite a private thing, and I think I'm probably going to be more private than people would probably expect me to be, but it's still something that we've not totally worked out yet, so yeah, I can't really answer that one. Next question, are you nervous for labor and do you have a birth plan? No, I absolutely do not have a birth plan. I am not that organized and I am not that forward thinking. We've still got a couple of months yet, guys, and to be quite honest with you, I haven't even thought about the birth. I know it's something that I really need to start thinking about, but weirdly, I'm not nervous. Even though I do have a massive phobia of needles and blood and like all that kind of stuff, I'm weirdly not at all scared for birth. I just haven't really thought about it much yet, which I know I definitely want to start thinking about it more. I do think I want to do like a bit of a, I don't know about hypnobirthing, but I want to do something where I prepare myself a little bit and teach myself like breathing exercises and like things that will just help me a little bit, because I am gonna do my best to have a natural birth and push our little baby girl out, which is just a mad concept. Like I cannot believe I'm gonna have to push this baby out of my vagina. Like actually pray for me. Like it's actually a mad concept, isn't it, when you think about it? But yeah, I feel okay about it. No, I don't have a birth plan, but I'll keep you guys updated with that in like vlogs to come and stuff, and like my thought process along labor lines. Also leading on from that question, I got a lot of questions about will I record my labor? Will I vlog it? And I don't know quite yet. I don't think if I am to record it, I would love to vlog it and record it and have it. Even if I just keep it for myself, I don't know. I would love to have some parts of it on camera, but the some parts is the very key part of that sentence there. I don't think I would ever feel comfortable myself personally putting anything online of me like pushing or going through like literally like pushing her out. I absolutely love watching videos where you literally get to see everything. Like I love vlogs like that. I just don't think personally I would feel comfortable doing that myself, even though I take my hat off to women that do, because I love watching those vlogs, so keep making them. But for me, I just don't think I'm gonna be able to give you that kind of content, but I definitely will see what I can do, because I would love to vlog it and film it just for my benefit anyway. Another question I got asked a lot, what's been your cravings so far? So cravings, I actually weirdly haven't had any cravings yet. I've craved everything. The only thing I kind of would say I have gone off a little bit would be chocolate. If you actually look back at my Switzerland vlog, when we went to the Lindt chocolate factory, I didn't eat any of the chocolate at the factory. I just had gone off chocolate completely. That's been one thing I've not really enjoyed as much as I normally would. But apart from that, I have literally craved everything, like carbs, sweet stuff, savory stuff, everything, anything I've eaten. Like I've literally gotten takeaways like every single week. Like I've really just enjoyed myself, because I normally watch what I eat so carefully, and I do feel like this is probably gonna be, I don't know, like for me and how I am, probably one of the only times that I really just don't care like what I eat, and I'm just gonna enjoy myself. So yeah. This next question I probably should have answered closer to the start, so sorry about this weird order, but do you feel like it was hard to conceive because of your endometriosis? As a lot of you will already know, I have suffered with endometriosis. So yeah, I have documented on my YouTube small parts of my journey with endometriosis. I actually filmed a whole dedicated Q&A about that, which I will link down below for you guys. So for those of you that don't know what endometriosis is, it's basically a condition. It's kind of incurable, really. I'm actually just going to read out the definition quickly for people that don't know what endometriosis is, so I'm not just sat here waffling about something that you guys don't know anything about. Endometriosis is a long-term condition where tissue similar to the lining of the womb grows in other places, such as the ovaries and fallopian tubes. So one of the large side effects from endometriosis is problems with falling pregnant. It can cause infertility and massive problems with trying to conceive a baby. So I really had convinced myself, obviously from not being on contraception for 3 years and having unprotected sex for that length of time, I really had convinced myself that my endometriosis was the reason as to why I wasn't falling pregnant. And it really did start to worry me that it was gonna have a large impact on Tommy and I having a baby. And we spoke about it a lot and we were really worried about it. But coming up to about a year ago now, I had an operation called a laparoscopy, which is an operation that helps, it will never cure endometriosis because it's not curable, but it helps sort of keep it at bay and get rid of a lot of the cells that are in places where they're not meant to be. I'm never going to know whether the operation was the reason that Tommy and I fell pregnant or not. I'm so blessed that we did, because I know a lot of women that have endometriosis aren't able to fall pregnant. And you know, people have things like polycystic ovaries or just infertility issues in general. It's just the most heartbreaking thing. And I really did think that we were gonna have no luck with falling pregnant naturally. And I really did think that we were gonna have to go down the route of IVF at some point. I just had convinced myself of it because of my endometriosis. So that's another reason as well as to why we were just so shocked when it happened and why it just took so long for the news to sink in. But yeah, it's a very tricky topic to talk about because I know it's so personal to a lot of women, and it's just a really hard one. And I don't want to sit here and be like, you know, I had endometriosis and I fell pregnant, so that means you can too. Like, I know it's not that way for everybody, and I have just been so lucky with my endometriosis that it hasn't prevented me from having a baby, which thank God, I just was so lucky. The sun has come out joyfully. It was literally a rainy, blistery, windy day before, but now the sun's come out, which for me, weirdly, is kind of a sad thing because I was really enjoying looking out onto the horrendous weather. It was just so cozy. Next question is a bit of a quick fire one. Are you going to breastfeed? It's not a particularly long one to answer. I'm going to try. I'm not like adamant on the idea of like I have to breastfeed, because I don't want to put any pressure on myself, because I know that sometimes breastfeeding doesn't go to plan and there can be complications with it and it just doesn't always work out. So I'm definitely going to try and breastfeed. In an ideal world, in a complete ideal scenario, I would love to pump so that the baby will take a bottle and will also breastfeed. So then Tommy can help me with feeds and she will also feed from me. That's like a very ideal scenario. But then you have some situations where babies won't take bottles, or you just never know. So I'm keeping it very relaxed. I'm so relaxed with literally everything to do with like when she's here. Like I'm just like, the plans are very relaxed. Like I don't have like a very set plan. Like it has to be this way. Like however it will be, it will be. That was meant to be a quick fire question and I seem to not be able to do that. I'm incapable of answering anything shortly. I'm just going through all the questions that I've written down now. I think I've pretty much covered everything. I'm gonna end with one more. A lot of you were asking, how's Tommy been during your pregnancy? Tommy has been absolutely amazing through my pregnancy. And I think if anything, it's been a little bit hard because I had these like, when I used to dream about falling pregnant and Tommy and I having a baby together, I used to like literally vision us going through the journey of pregnancy together and it being so magical and amazing. But to be honest, life carries on completely normally when you're pregnant. Like nothing changes apart from the fact, for us anyway, nothing changed apart from the fact that I am growing a baby. Tommy has been amazing and has supported me through everything. I could literally not have asked any more of him, but for him, life is still the same. Like I am growing his baby, which is amazing and magical and so special and unbelievable. And he's been like, oh, it's just been like going to the scans and everything together and just like experiencing it all together has been unbelievable. And having it like as our little secret as well was so special. But you know, Tommy is now away for a 6-week camp and that's super hard because I'm here by myself. I kind of always visioned it as like life would stop and everything would just be about me being pregnant, which is so selfish and not at all the case. Like life very much carries on and Tommy has been absolutely incredible. He's been my rock, he's been my support system. He has been with me through every single part of this journey, but yeah, he's just headed off now for a 6-week camp and that's really hard for both of us and I miss him a lot. The light's gone all dark again. I'm sorry, it's literally been so weird throughout this video. I really need to invest in some proper camera lighting again now that I'm like filming some sit down videos and stuff, and I hope you guys are liking the frequent content as well. I saw some comments about that, like, oh my gosh, like she's back with regular content, which I am, and touch wood, it stays because there's been quite a few uploads recently. I'm not trying to jinx anything, but yeah, fingers crossed it stays. But I think that's all the questions that I'm gonna answer for today. I really hope I covered everything that you guys kind of wanted to know so far. My camera is literally gonna die any second, so I'm not gonna waffle on with a long outro. Fingers crossed I'll see you guys all in my next video, and if you made it to the end of this video, then I love you so much. Thank you for sticking with it. And I'm just so excited to bring you guys on the rest of this journey with us. It's gonna be an exciting one. And yeah, I'm excited to be like very open and honest and just bring you guys along on this crazy journey into me being a mum and to Tommy being a dad. Pray for us, send help, that's all I'm gonna say. Imagine switching battery packs just to say goodbye. My camera died, but goodbye guys. I love you all and I'll see you very soon. Bye.